Well, winning's a whole different feeling, so we can maybe crack a joke or two in here tonight and have a little fun with it. But I wasn't kidding. I mean, you guys have seen me the last couple weeks. You see me on the Monday press conferences, and it's been a stretch. I mean, not just the last 3 weeks. It's just been a stretch, on all of us. I think, every kid in that locker room, every coach in our program, and to get a win tonight, it's so. I mean, it's deep. It's deep, and I know that we did this for the seniors, and that's the most important thing. But we did this for everybody in that locker room because we all needed it. And it's been, again, whether it's been expectations, whether it's been, ups and downs, whether it's been injuries, it's just been such a roller coaster of emotions in that locker room for those guys. And I wasn't kidding when I said they come out every day. They still do the things you ask them to do. They don't complain. They don't moan. They go about their business. We haven't been good enough. And tonight we started off not good enough. And we did the exact opposite of what I said the number one thing we had to do. We had to come out and we had to start fast. I didn't mean like we had to get up 14-0, but I just said we have to make sure that we're in a good place and do some good things in the first quarter. And we did the exact opposite. And they, not say amazed me, but they showed me that there was something deeper down inside that, we've seen at times, but not on a consistent basis. And they had to dig a lot deeper tonight. We all had to dig a lot deeper tonight because of the way we started and just the way things have gone the last few weeks. And I'm extremely, extremely proud and happy for especially the seniors.
I was going to kind of ask about that because I'm guessing you would have been happy to see your team come out fast and take control after the streak, and then you're down 14-0. Does that make it a little bit more satisfying knowing that, most teams or a lot of players could say, screw it, we're down 14-0.
Yeah.
We're going to lose again.
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, we had reminiscence of the week before when we, were in a really bad place and position, and I thought that was the most important thing we had to do tonight. Just come out and get a stop, do this. Just make sure that we're controlling our emotions of things. And you give up 2 giant plays defensively, and I think that's what makes this feel that much greater. Is just the position we were in, the way we battled back, to have to go to overtime, and a lot of decisions and situations, even in the overtime, that we had to kind of put on our shoulders, and for all those things to kind of come out and to come out on top tonight, is really, really special.
Luke, when you look at some of the plays that Tanner made, especially on third down, the second half and overtime, is that the kind of guy you expected when you brought him in here as a transfer?
I didn't know exactly what to expect. It's what I thought because of what I had seen and what I played against. And then when he got here, that's exactly what he showed me he could do. And we saw it a little bit earlier in the year. Then, he's been hurt and dinged and things like that. But there's no doubt who one of the best leaders is I've been around, and who one of the more competitive guys I've ever been around is. And he showed that tonight. I mean, there were plays made, and it's not just him. I mean, Vinny Anthony made some catches. Will Pauling made some catches. But because of who Tanner is and because of his leadership, it's why we probably didn't fold when it was 14-0 or didn't, panic, I should say, not fold, but panic when it was 14-0 is because of his leadership and then the other guys that stepped up and followed around him.
Hey, Luke, after that start that you kind of referred to, especially from the defense, the quick 14, but then essentially going 3.5 quarters without giving up anything other than the 3, just what stood out to you the most about their response and kind of stepping up in some of those late moments?
I think it's kind of reining themselves in, recognizing the situations, recognizing the things we had done poorly, and then correcting it. And I think that's where they've done a good job, I think, throughout the year, but we've gotten to the position where all of a sudden we've started to panic a little bit when we've given up plays, and it's cost us. And they didn't panic. They found a way. They recognized the things we were doing. Not that we didn't prepare for it, but quarterback goes 50 yards or 55 yards on a blitz where you got a guy free at him, and then you got 2nd and 20, and they run 4 verticals on zone coverage, and the guy goes 65 yards. I mean, like, there's a there was a panic at some point in time you thought was going to happen, but they didn't. And so maybe it's some of the stuff they've been through, but they found a way to adjust, adapt, and played really, really good football the rest of the game.
Luke, you've seen Braylon in a lot of different ways so far this season, whether it's splitting carries with Chaz or carrying 29 times, but this was kind of a different version of him. What did you think of what he gave you, given the
Well,
last
I'll
few?
be honest. I'm proud of him. I didn't expect him to play. Not that he didn't do some stuff this week and things like that, but I just kind of said, hey, let's just assume he's not, and if by chance he can, then he's going to have to kind of tap us on the shoulder and really kind of push us to say, hey, I want to be in there, and that's what he did. And he prepares mentally and he does the things he needs to do. He just hasn't been healthy, and I think it's been hard on us because I think some of our guys get emotionally tied to all of a sudden he's in there and he's not, and so I thought, hey, we can't have that tonight, and so let's assume maybe he's not going to be there, and let's just move forward. And you know what? I think that he didn't play in the first maybe series or two, and then I really think he was kind of chomping at the bit over there to, push us to get him in the ball game, and that's, that makes me proud of what he did, and he didn't feel perfect, but he's another one of those guys that showed me a lot tonight that. I think he was much better when we got down, and that's something we needed.
So Luke, with Hunter, any updates on just what transpired to him, but also just how did the defense change after he was out of the game?
That was a bit worrisome. He's our rock, and he's the guy that makes a lot of things go, and he's a guy that does a lot of different things for us. And when they came back at halftime and said he wasn't going to be able to go, we kind of had to throw it on guys' shoulders. That's another one of those reasons why I think this is so special, to see a guy like Travion Blaylock that, started in game one and then really hasn't seen the field a whole lot, and his ability to, have the ups and the downs, but keep working, and knowing at some point in time he's going to be put into a situation where we need him to win a football game. And he had to go back in there. Moy, who has been out, had to go back in there and play a role that maybe he wasn't, deemed ready to play. And but that's when you see those guys have to step up because of a situation like that.
Luke, are you relieved? Is that a good word to describe? How you're feeling a little bit?
There's a relief, and it's not. If everybody thinks it's always about winning, and again, this game's about winning, but I'm relieved and I'm happy because of the way we played. We didn't start off well, and we did the exact same thing that I said we couldn't do, but yet we found a way to continue to fight and scratch and claw, and we found a way to win a game at the end. We found a way to finish. And I know you can say the Illinois, but that's not something that we've done a good job of. And the way everything kind of went tonight, and then to finish the way it did, unfortunately there is a relief to it. But I think there's much more joy than there is even relief.
Luke, what did you see on the last play, the interception, and what was going through your head right there? No end to down and distance.
It didn't matter. I just wanted the ball to hit the ground. I didn't even know that we ended up picking it off, but it worries me when the ball goes up in the air and it's tipped, because I wasn't worried about us coming down with it. I was just worried about them not coming down with it. And we'd already had one over there on the sideline, I think on second down, where I couldn't tell if we had our hands on it. Somebody maybe could tell me. I'd hope it. Okay, all right. I was hoping it wasn't us that tipped it, because usually those MOBPs usually lead to something not good when you don't make the play that you have an opportunity to, kind of like it's happened to us, a few too many times this year. But who was it that picked it? I don't even know. Is it Zachman that picked it off? Great. I'm glad he did. I don't care, as long as he had knocked it to the ground and it wasn't them. I don't know. It kind of got blurry after that, so I wasn't sure.
Luke, I know you're not usually a big picture person, at least here with us, but just how important is it for this team to get that sixth win, get to bowl eligibility?
Well, they asked about that, and some have asked about that and talked about this week, and I don't want to downplay it. There's a streak and there's all these things, but it wasn't a focus of mine. It wasn't a focus. I didn't say one thing about it to the team. I think it was far greater and far bigger about how we were going to play and our ability to react, respond, rally back from where we've been the last few weeks. Yes, we know there's some things that are on the line based on, bowl eligibility, but it was far bigger to me than being able to go to a bowl game. It's, can we find a way to get ourselves back playing a game of football that gives you a chance to win? And that's what we did tonight. We played complementary football that gives us a chance to win.
I know it's hard to pick out one play in an overtime game, but it's 14-0. You're down. They're driving for what looks like at least a field goal when they have that 4th and 1. And you guys stop them. I don't know if you can feel it, or could you sense the momentum change a little bit, because you guys went down and scored.
Well, what we had talked about was we had to have something good happen early, and that's, whether it was, us scoring a touchdown first, being up, whether it was a big play, an interception, whatever. I just felt like, we've been a fragile team, and we needed something big to happen early. Well, it didn't. But after that 4th down stop, there was a definite change in energy and momentum on our sideline, within our team, but also within that stadium. And I think that was a big deal for us. I mean, we needed that tonight. We needed that stadium. We needed that energy. We needed that student section. All those things, sometimes get left behind and they're not talked about. When you're a team that's looking and pulling at everything you got to try to get yourself back into this winning mode, and you need everything. And we needed everything tonight. We needed that play. We needed a lot of other plays. We needed the crowd.
Last one from Colton.
Luke, on both your touchdown drives, you guys mixed up tempo even more than usual. Like, you got faster at times. What do you think makes Tanner so comfortable in those situations? Is it just experience, having done it before, or?
No, I think that when he can just play and be a little bit freer, I think it gives him an opportunities to, be aggressive. And, when people don't have their cleats in the ground, I think that's just something we've not been able to do as much because we haven't had consistency offensively. And, now that, Tanner's feeling much better, and I think that's where we were getting to about Purdue week when, I think we were getting into that mix of things, and there just been, hiccups here and there, whether it's, the running game, the backs, the injury, and then Tanner. It hasn't allowed us to play at a speed where we can create more things and make the advantage for our offense. And I thought he was able to do that tonight.